Check, check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go!
Spencer Remple, does your dad give you the fifth quarter in the car ride home, or do you drive separately, or does he talk to you after the game about the game? How's that go?
Fortunate enough, I take the bus ride home, so I get to dodge the overtime that goes on in the car there. But usually it's good feedback.
He's a pretty good guy. He was worked up today for the game though, man, because when he got there, like none of the music wasn't ready, the microphones weren't ready, so your dad was pretty worked up even before the game. So if you play with the intensity that he plays with, you're bringing it on, dudes.
Yeah, man, I don't doubt that. He's in charge of the music, so he takes
Yeah.
that personal.
Yeah, he does. Absolutely. So a 57-7 win over the Edmonton Huskies. Just talk as we talk. The game's just over. I watched it upstairs. I watched you play. Just your thoughts on the game in general.
I thought it was a great game for our team. The score says it itself. The statistics were going to show itself. I think we rushed for just shy of 400 or 300 rushing yards alone. I don't know how much we passed for, but the first down comparison, like it's night and day. So for the Thunder, excellent performance. Excellent
Yeah,
performance. Very
it was.
happy.
It was a chippy game though. Edmonton got a lot of penalties. Did it feel that way on the field?
100%. There's times where like the whistle's gone and I'm just jogging, minding my own business, and wham, I'm getting drilled and sitting on my butt. So they were just out for vengeance and blood. But when they were down going into this game, it was kind of a difficult situation for them. So they were just playing with that edge, and you could tell.
So I don't know. Like you've had two road trips, and those are long bus rides. Have you been nicked up coming home? Like what's it like? I know what it's like, but have you been hurt driving home? Like where you got because there were a couple Edmonton dudes that are going with like a shoulder injury and like maybe a knee or a back or a head. That's a long bus trip when you're banged up.
100%. There's two things to it. It's like if you're coming home with the injury, the 8-hour bus ride does not help. And then
No.
I also find that with the 8-hour bus ride, like you can't get comfortable. So your neck, you're going to go home with a neck injury or just a little knot in your muscles to send you home.
That's funny. Do you guys get one or two buses?
We take two, one for the offense and one for the defense.
Yeah, when I played junior football, bro, it was everybody so the injured guys would lay on the floor, and then if you're going to the bathroom, you had to walk on like the seat, like
Oh, really?
the seat. What do you call it? The seat rests so that you didn't step on the dude. Yeah, so I'm not. I don't feel sorry for you, Spencer, because you have it way better than we had it back in the day. But hey, talk about special teams. Now, you were a top defensive player in high school, provincially, with the U18 team and everything like that. You've kind of had to find a role on special teams, much like my kid in the CFL. How do you like being a core force special guy? Because in the Canadian game, it does mean a lot.
100%. You're definitely huffing and puffing. Sometimes I'm coming off and I see the defense. They might have a long series, but after doing a kickoff and a kickoff return, you're busting your butt to go and block a guy and trying your hardest to fight for, even the 6 seconds. You come to the sidelines and you're sweating, and after like 4 quarters of that, you're definitely sore and tired. But I love the role. It's a great role, and it's a very high speed kind of I don't really know, skill set, if that makes sense. You're flying down. You can get injured if your head's not on a swivel. You got to be very careful, and there's different skill sets that are going to help you
You
out
know,
there.
you're coming down, Spencer, on punt cover, for instance, and you got to watch the halo. I think you got a flag one time because the ball hit you. Wasn't
Yeah,
your fault. But the other time in this game, the guy went to catch it and he did the basket catch by his feet and it went through his legs. That's where you look like you're smiling like a butcher's dog, even through the helmet. I could see because it's like you're normally you got to come down and break down right for the halo, but then he touches it. Now all bets are off, and you get to come down there and clock him, which you did on that one.
yeah. I was going and I got past my guy and I started stacking him, and he started pulling my pants off. I thought they were going to come off, and that'd be quite embarrassing. He's tugging my jersey, and I was going to be upset if he took me to the ground because
Yeah.
the ball was loose. Like I wanted that ball.
Yeah. Which special team do you like better? Do you do you have one that's favored over the other or one that's least favorite? I know my kid hates he'll do them all, but he hates the kickoff return because you got a guy running at you full speed and you got to
Yeah.
find him and then you got to turn. Do you hate that one the most?
That one's definitely hard, but I don't mind blocking. I kind of like getting the guy's grill a bit, being
Hmm.
scrappy with him. But the one, if I had to complain the most and one that I like the most, I like kickoff.
Yep.
But if you're going from kickoff, a coverage to defense, you're going to be huffing and puffing before the first play's even started. But I like them all. But if I had to pick one that just kind of was my least favorite, if I had to put it like that, maybe KOR, just because it's so hard. It's
Yeah.
difficult.
So you you're a great defensive back. You're just in the defensive back room where there's lots of good defensive backs. It's just the way that it goes. So how does a guy like you, if you're anything like your dad, which I can kind of tell already, you are high you're high paced, you want to be in the center of the action all the time. How do you be a patient guy and wait your turn? You got in today on defense because it was a blowout, and so I'm
Yep.
glad they put other guys in. But how do you remain patient?
Just gotta wait for your time. And another thing that will help is special teams. If you're a guy who is
Mhm.
shown on the film being scrappy and being relentless and just fighting for your spot and just knowing your role, I think there's different things you can do. One, you got to be patient. You got to wait for your turn. An injury might appear, so then you get thrown in and seize the moment. But another thing too, there's just different ways that you can prove to a coach that you're ready to go.
You know, you wrecked your knee last year, and it was a lot worse than anybody thought. In fact, you kept playing in the one game and made a tackle or two after your knee was basically off the hinge, so to speak.
Yeah.
Um, how are you feeling this year, other than being sore after the game?
Um, Pretty good. After this game, I feel pretty well. There was a play. There was a play. I was on a punt and I made the tackle, and then my whole trap and shoulder just went numb, pins and needles. But that only lasted for a couple seconds. I'm definitely a little sore,
Hmm.
but with the knee injury that you're talking about, it was a patella dislocation and bone fragments kind of loose in there, and big bone bruising on my knee. So that was pretty uncomfortable. And then I actually got roached for like 30 yards when I went in. So that didn't really help my coverage there. But this year, I'm just working on rehab, trying to get it better. I haven't had any problems yet.
Hmm.
That's the goal, right? I want to build the muscle around it. Specifically, the VMO is going to
Yeah,
help stabilize my patella.
yeah,
So I've been doing a good job, and I'm hoping that I don't dislocate my knee again.
you're a good man. You're looking good. Is 17 special number for you? Or is that just one they gave you?
Um, it was one that was given to me when I was playing U18, the provincial team. Normally I was 27 growing up. In high
Hmm.
school I was 22, but then it was given to me at U18, and then it kind of just stuck with me ever since then. I just lucked out 2 years in a row at U18 getting it, got on the Thunder, and then I'm just kind of embracing it now. I think that's my new number. I love it.
Hey, what was you did like, was it Taekwondo? What did you do? What was the other sport you did? Sorry, it slips my mind.
I've played lacrosse in elementary school. I played volleyball. I loved basketball, football, and now I'm picking up golf. I'm not too bad at golf.
Really? You liking golf?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
What got you into golf? Your dad or just you or what?
I was just bored one summer, and I was like, you know what, Spence? Like, let's go find something new. Let's go out there, let's go
Yeah.
adventure, and pick up a
Yeah.
golf club. And it was pretty fun. I like golf. Get to be
Righty or
outside.
righty or lefty?
Righty.
Righty. Okay.
Hmm.
Where do you golf? Do you have a particular course you like to go to?
All of the above,
Yeah.
but specifically the Murray or Tor Hill.
Yeah, Murray or Tor Hill. Hey,
Oh.
you guys had you had Uncle Brett Hitman Hart at your practice in Calgary. You got to introduce him. What was that like?
Very nerve wracking. In a
Yeah.
different way, it's kind of like in another world, it's like introducing Randy Moss to someone. It's kind of a big deal. And
Yeah.
so I was pretty nervous, but the boys were fired up. A lot of the guys, especially on the Thunder, are WWE fans, so they knew who he was. And we're doing kickoff coverage, just practicing it and stuff like that. And he comes walking down the park with my dad, and right away heads were turning. Is that Brett the Hitman Hart? And the word started going through the grapevine like a game of telephone. So they were excited, and I was excited.
That was pretty. That's pretty interesting. Listen, he's one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, and he's well known. But you guys in your age bracket, younger, you think you'd gravitate more to. I don't even watch wrestling anymore, but I don't know, CM Punk or some of these younger guys. Okay, it's pretty cool that they still have the respect for Bret Hitman Hart.
Yeah, it was just a legacy he's left. He's built a name for himself, and people watch his YouTube because it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a legacy he's built, which is pretty cool because he's normal to my life, but he's not normal to other people. So
Yeah. Is he like Uncle Brett to you, or you kind of have that relationship almost?
100%. I was saying he's family to my family before I was even born. So it's kind of just been a normal. He's been having supper, or he's had a couple suppers at my house before, and I've had meals at his house. So to me, it is kind of cool. More that I've grown up and matured, I get to understand more who he is.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd say it's just normal to me.
So, Spencer, what's your goal here? Coming into the Thunder as a highly touted D back, but now you're one of the key players on special teams. What was your goal this season? Like, did you write down a couple of goals, maybe each game or for the year for yourself?
Um, I don't think I specifically wrote them down, but one things I wanted to do was just be the next guy in for DB, get in there, be aggressive. Specifically, that was a goal, and embrace my role. I've been given a special teams opportunity, and I just want to embrace that and be the best I can be.
Well, you're noticeable, man. You even got to return some punts. But tell me that one, okay? Okay, so in the game, there's you and LeBlanc back there to receive, and you almost, as we talk about wrestling, Ed Whalen would have said, "Oh, almost a malfunction at the junction," as you guys almost collided there. Whose fault was that? Was that yours or was that Lawrence?
It was my fault. I'll be honest. I was back there. I was supposed to be the main guy. And I thought, I don't know, I wasn't really thinking. I was just thinking, I'm going to get it because it was like my
Yeah.
second one when they told me to go in. So I was just focused on that. And I didn't really communicate too well, like mine. And
Yeah.
so I guess it was kind of in the middle between us. So we were both going there. But thankfully, we did not collide because that would be hard to explain on film and that would be bad news.
Yeah, that is bad. It's always cringeworthy, right? When you watch film.
Yeah.
Do you ever have those ones? Do you ever have those ones where you think you're gonna have it's gonna be great. You can't wait to watch film, and then you get there and it's not as good as you thought. And then conversely, you're like, oh, for shit's sake, now I gotta go watch film, and it's like this is gonna suck. I'm gonna get my ass ripped, and it's like, oh, wasn't that bad actually. Do you ever have that?
Literally every time you go in the film room, there's nothing good there's good that comes out of it, but when you go in there, it's like, hey, like I think I played good, but it's that dang clicker. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness, do they love that dang clicker? Finding the flaws, finding stuff like that. But to answer your question, literally every time you go in the film room, there's going to be something that you can work at.
Man, you're a pleasure to talk to and a pleasure to watch. Continued success. You get a bye week now and then a big matchup against Saskatoon. I guess I'll ask you that for the last question. You get to play at Mosaic Stadium against the Hilltops. Not the first time that's happened to you, but how special is that for you guys? You wear those special jerseys and the ones that play-by-play guys hate, but everybody else likes because you look cool, but we can't see your numbers. What do you, how special is that for you playing the Hilltops at Mosaic?
Coming into the Thunder, I didn't really expect it to be how it was. Like, there's fireworks going off. The crowd absolutely, the barn is packed. They take a bus down, probably 1,000 people. We have 1,000 people. There's like two or 3,000 people in attendance. It gets very loud. And when you're playing the Hilltops in that week, it is focused. Like there is no messing around, no goofing around. It is a rivalry game, a true rivalry game, and that's what makes competition. That's what brings the competitive side out of every player and coach.
Has Scott McCauley taken you up the hill and do a speech on top of the hill like we used to do with the Rams back on Hilltop Week?
He actually brought it out before Hilltop Week. He brought it out maybe on our first week or second week because I think we were having a bad series of practices or something like that. So he took us up there to talk with us, touch our hearts. Yeah. And I'm sure we're going to see it again during the Hilltops Week.
Yeah, that's for sure. It's Hilltop Week. It's kind of like NFL Raiders Week. The Chargers always had Raiders Week. So, yeah, it's Hilltop Week. Hey, enjoy the bye week. Can't wait to see that game against Saskatoon. Take care, Spence.
Right on. Thank you so much.
Well, before I wrap the show up, just want to send my condolences to Kathy Smith, the longtime spouse of Craig Smith. Craig, a friend of mine, friend of the show. He's been on this podcast a number of times, and we're going to leave you with a snippet of the last time that Craig was on the show back in February. Last time I saw Craig was at the Combine. I said hi to him quickly, but he was in his element there at the soccer center in Regina as they held the Combine here before the CFL draft, hobnobbing with a bunch of the CFL types, the coaches, the players, everybody coming around. He was the center of attention and one of the highlights of the event there, the 3-day event at the soccer center in Regina. Craig and I have been texting back and forth. He's been a supporter of this show and a supporter of Canadian football, and just a great man. As I told his wife Kathy in the last couple of days, you can't find anybody that has a bad word to say about Craig Smith, and that's quite the legacy. And she agreed, telling Craig's dad exactly that. She said, I talked to Craig's dad and said that exact thing, and that is the best legacy to leave. When nobody can say a bad word about you. Here's a guy that won 2 Grey Cups, one with the BC Lions as kind of a scout / quality control coach on the offensive side of things with the Steve Barato-led BC Lions in 2000 after they got rid of Greg Wonderful Mons. Then, of course, he was hired by the Rough Riders in 2010 and became an integral part of building that 2013 championship team, the last time the Rough Riders were in a Grey Cup, let alone win one. So he has a lasting impact here in Saskatchewan. Left the team in 2015 as they cleaned house to have sustained success, as Craig Reynolds said at the time. They're still looking for that sustained success, although they are having a pretty good year this year. Craig would wrap up his football journey with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers for a couple of years before his health battle really kicked in 2018. And I wear this Blue Bomber shirt on Labor Day week. I'll show you there. Not only because my kid's playing on the team, but for Craig. He loved his hometown of Winnipeg. He loved the Blue Bombers. He loved the CFL in general. And he loved the whole draft process and finding and mining for players. And like I said, we're going to wrap up the show with a little snippet here of Craig Smith. So once again, thoughts and prayers going out to Kathy Smith and all his other friends and family. Craig, you're gone, but not forgotten, and you were a great part of my football journey that I'll never forget. All right, welcome to the show, our resident scout, Craig Smith, multiple Grey Cup winner. Hey, I was taking my son down a walk down memory lane, and we drove down Nagle Crescent. And I won't give your address out, but I saw your house. And your house that you're living in East Regina is like literally a football throw away from where I grew up. And it's funny, I used to play football with my friends on the street. We'd play, go to the red truck and do a button hook. And I was Mervyn Fernandez or Roy DeWalt or John Huffnagel. And there was Dieter Brock and James Murphy. Like, those were the days back in the day. You don't see that anymore.
No, when I was young, I did the same thing on my street in Transcona in Winnipeg. And I was Peter Lisk and Ron Lancaster and all the, So, yeah, things certainly have changed. No, nobody plays on the street anymore.
No.
It's kind of funny.
It is. It's funny and sad at the same time. Yeah. Craig, you got a better bill of health recently, which we've talked about before. That's some good news. The ticker's working good now.
Yeah, the fraction ejection was in between 50 and 52, and those who know that's is pretty much normal. It has, and almost like it's regenerated, and it's doing a heck of a lot better. And so I'm doing pretty good. Matter of fact, I think I'm going to see if I can make it out to the Combine I got a wheelchair now, so I mean, if I had to walk, there's no way because I can walk, but I just can't walk far. But
Mm-hmm.
with a wheelchair, it makes it a little different. So I'll see how close I can get. I know a lot of CFL people, but I'm thinking I hope I can get out there because I sure as hell miss it. I miss the
Yeah.
last one I went to was here in 2017, and I missed all those, but I still watch them on I guess it's TSN,
Yeah.
whatever. It's streamed with the Scott, no, Ferguson, Marshall Ferguson.
Marshall Ferguson and Jim Barker do a lot of
Yeah,
the work now. Yeah.
yeah.
So
So I'm hoping that I can get out there. I would just love to and see. I'll tell you, I haven't seen guys for a long time, so I'd love to go out, get out and see a lot of the guys.
give give the kids that are watching this. My son's one of them. It's actually funny. Today I went to the McCarra Street Level 10 compound and watched Ethan, my son, with Dan Farthing, who's my cousin, and he was working him out, and a Joe. And Ethan's been working out with the Brammers and the Godbers and all those guys of the world. But give the Ethans, the Boschemans, I've had Finley on the show, the Rams, the Husky kids that are going to the combine. What kind of advice would you give to the stars of tomorrow today that are trying to turn some heads at the combine?
Well, hopefully they've been working their ass off because us idiots with the stopwatch, we like to take a look at that stopwatch and it's just an indicator. It's just like everything. We gather all the information, put it all together, and everything is an indicator. Everybody goes, "Oh, testing, but it's just an indicator. It shows the training, shows, if a guy does have speed, if he doesn't have speed. Some guys can't run a 40, but they're still fast. So, you've got to take all that stuff in. You watch the film, you marry it all up, and then you make a decision. So hopefully the guys are working and even if they are training for the 40, for the short shuttle and all those different things, that's not a bad thing. It's just try to do technique and try to get that time down and because guys will look at that information and go, "Huh, look at this guy. Look at the quickness he had on the 3 cone." And it'll be like I said, an indicator.
Mm.
An
Is there
indicator.
one is there one more than another that you look at there? Like, is it if the kid can run, if he can jump, is there one test that weighs more than the other?
Put it all together. 40, can the kid run? Can he go? Is he a straight line guy? And then, okay, what about his change of direction? Can he plant and go? And can he do it quickly? And, like the 3 cone or the short shuttle. And then the jump, does he have explosion? Does he have hip explosion? Can he get up there? And the broad jump, all those different things, it all adds up. And then the other thing is they'll measure the hand size, measure the arm length, for offensive linemen or, a big hand helps in the game of football. Quarterbacks, if you get the kid that went down from Laurier,
Yeah, Elgersma, yeah.
he had a big mitt and that helps, but that doesn't mean that, that's the end all, but it's just an indicator again. And so they'll do that and then they'll sit down. And I would tell those kids just to be yourself. Don't answer anything that, this is what they want to hear. Just be honest, be truthful, be yourself. And if guys will find out what the deal is, they'll have talked to, if they're doing their work, and I'm sure they will, they'll be talking to trainers, they'd be talking to equipment guys, talking to the coaches. Sometimes talking to the coaches is a little deceiving because everybody and their dog wants their kids to do good. But unless this kid is a real bad guy, then they'll, say, "Oh, geez, I don't know."
Hmm.
So they're going to find out. So when you get into those interviews, and those interviews are, don't be nervous. Just go on in there, be yourself. Some of the questions that some of the teams, in my estimation, are ridiculous. I just think, well, what the hell does that have anything to do with it? But you're going to find out some information. What we did, it was Saskatchewan a couple of times. What we would do is the guys would get up on the board, so you get an indication of how football wise, what offensive line. Okay, what about blocking schemes or a receiver, route trees, or whatever. You get up on the board and see what type of football knowledge the kid has. And that's again a lot of times, oh, the kid's nervous, but just go in there, be yourself, don't be nervous, have fun. And that's the big thing is when you go in there, have fun. You're going to meet a lot of people. You're going to meet a lot of players. There'll be friendships for life. And the bottom line is, if you got it, they're going to find it. If you don't have it, they'll know. So just have fun and get in there.
Hey, Craig, it's been a busy off season. We've seen a lot of moves here. Mark Killam gets a crack in Edmonton. Vernon Adams Jr. goes to Calgary. The Ford brothers reunite in Edmonton. It's been a wild start to free agency so far. Jake Mayer comes over to Saskatchewan, which I think is a good signing. Let's start with the Riders. Are you surprised how little or, you can't, are you surprised by any of the Rider moves, I guess the best way to put it?
Not really. Some of the Rider moves I looked, as I was sitting, I was watching them. Well, that's a pretty good signing. Well, I like that one too, so I don't think that they've gone crazy, but I think that they've helped. They had a good base anyway. They had a good group of guys before. Look at them, went to the Western Final. Now it's just a matter of adding. And, the kid that they signed from Laval, the right guard, that's going to solidify that interior offensive line. And they lost Godber. I think he went, where'd he go?
He went to Ottawa. So do you think they moved? As we talk now, they haven't signed another quote-unquote center. Could you see Logan Ferland moving into center there?
That's a good question. I mean, that's a difficult thing, right? I mean, when you go from outside to inside, all the different things that your responsibilities change. And I don't know the kid well enough. I know that he's been in the league a long time. He did go over there and did it. And, because that'll be interesting. I don't know how many centers are left. So
I think Mike McEwen, as we talk, was a free agent in Calgary, and he'd be a good one to get. But there hasn't been any signing, as you and I are talking right now.
McEwen would be excellent, but what's it going to take? But yeah, he's pretty darn good. That would be a good thing. But I think they've did some good things, and getting Mayer. You know what happens with Trevor? Trevor gets hurt, So in Mayer, a lot of people will say, "Oh yeah, but look what he did." But at least he's a guy that can go out there and take snaps, and he won't be nervous. And just look what happened to Arbuckle last year. Like you scratch your head and you go, "Geez, I'm not sure about Arbuckle." He goes in, he plays an unbelievable game with Toronto.
Hey, Craig, thanks for your time, man. We'll have you on again around the draft, okay?
Sounds good. Take care.